Hey, let's tell them about the time when we found that very historical location that we didn't realize was actually there.
Which time is that?
Oh, yeah, true. Well, hello, Parapeeps, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. I am your host, Sean Donnelly.
And I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
Today we are talking about the Lorraine Motel, also known as the National Civil Rights Museum.
That's right.
And if you are into paranormal history and forensic type videos,
don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell so that you can be sure
to get notified the next time we put out a video on Panic D Videos. That's right. Like the intro said, we went to Memphis back in 2008. We were married for 2 years. Kind of like a newlyweds still, so to speak. And one of our trips, because of Marianne's conference, was in Memphis. And we were just kind of starting our adventures. This was before paranormal stuff. And we had a day. I know when we went to Memphis, I wanted to hit Graceland and Sun Studios and all those places there, definitely,
Yes, he did.
But we kind of had a day where it was like, okay, what are we going to do type thing. And
yeah, sometimes you get out of the conferences earlier in the day, and sometimes you get out a little bit later, and so it's the times are always slightly staggered.
So we realized through looking at a postcard in the gift shop that in Memphis is the Lorraine Motel. So that was one of our quests. So before we get into that story and our personal experiences, watch this quick video, and we'll be
right back.
The Lorraine Motel in Memphis is owned by the state of Tennessee and is operated by the Lorraine Civil Rights Museum Foundation under a long-term lease with the Tennessee State Museum in Nashville. It is also part of a complex known as the National Civil Rights Museum. The complex is a 4.14-acre site that includes not only the Lorraine Motel, but also a museum and other associated buildings. The site originally began as a 16-room hotel in about 1925, named the Windsor Lorraine Hotel. It later became known as the Marquette Hotel and was considered upscale lodging for black clientele. In 1945, a gentleman named Walter Bailey purchased the motel and renamed it the Lorraine Hotel for his wife Lori and the song Sweet Lorraine. Eventually, he changed the name to the Lorraine Motel. Mr. Bailey continued to operate the motel as an upscale lodging for black clientele and other Negro travelers. Over decades, Bailey added a second floor, 30 additional rooms, a swimming pool, and even drive-up access, and a design reflecting the popular Gucci style with geometric shapes and bright colors. It also boasted an excellent cafe and superior service, as well as being the site of important business meetings and celebrity gatherings and weddings. Among guests through the 1960s were Martin Luther King Jr., baseball greats like Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, and Jackie Robinson, and even some very popular musicians who would visit while frequenting Stax Records, such as Ray Charles, Lionel Hampton, Aretha Franklin, Ethel Waters, Otis Redding, the Staple Singers, Louis Armstrong, Cab Calloway, Nat King Cole, Sarah Vaughan, Sam Cooke, and even Wilson Pickett, who wrote The Midnight Hour right there at the Lorraine Motel. On April 4th of 1968, the Lorraine Motel became infamous as it was the site of the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. on the balcony outside room 306. After the assassination, Bailey immediately withdrew room 306 where King died and the adjoining room 307 from use, maintaining them as a memorial. Coupled with his wife's stroke and death within days of King's assassination, Bailey reduced the motel's operation and converts the other motel rooms to single-room occupancies for low-income residential use. Following foreclosure in December of 1982, Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Foundation bought the motel for $144,000 and changed the name of their organization to the Lorraine Civil Rights Museum Foundation just 2 years later. The Lorraine finally closed as a single-room occupancy motel on March 2nd of 1988. The last tenant was Jacqueline Smith, and she was evicted. The building then underwent an $8.8 million overhaul, turning it into the Civil Rights Museum. The museum was dedicated on July 4th of 1991 and officially opened to the public September 28th of 1991. In 1999, the foundation acquired the Young and Morrow building and its associated vacant lot on Mulberry Street as part of the museum complex. A tunnel was built under the lot that connected the building with the motel. The foundation also became custodian of the police evidence files associated with the assassination, including the rifle and the fatal bullet, in a 12,800 square foot exhibit in the former Young and Morrow building, which opened in September of 2002. The main museum closed in November of 2012 for a $27.5 million renovation, which included changes to exhibits and upgrades to building systems. The exhibits were updated for historical accuracy, and the building's renovations included replacement and repair of the HVAC system and other mechanical systems, also expansion of the lobby, and the creation of a new educational center. The renovated museum reopened to the public on April 5th of 2014.
All right, so this week was a little bit different for Panic D videos. Normally we have a whole plethora of videos about a location. The Lorraine Motel is actually in the Panic D database, mainly because of its historical reasons, but we did find a paranormal claim. Right there at the location, at the top of the steps, there are reports of people feeling cold spots and feeling of dread and that kind of stuff, which makes sense, okay, and that's why the location is in the Panic D database, because we did find that paranormal claim. So this is Panic D number 1984. It's the Lorraine Motel, also known as the National Civil Rights Museum. It's located at 450 Mulberry Street in Memphis, Tennessee. And it is open to the public.
That's right.
Absolutely.
They are actually this building is actually part of a multi-building complex that they now have there for the National Civil Rights Museum.
That's right. On the back of the hotel facade, so to speak, is actually a larger complex for the museum. And so to our personal experiences, I didn't realize back then that, you know, I knew about the location. I've seen these pictures before. I knew about Martin Luther King. I knew of all that stuff, but I didn't realize, I didn't put two and two together until it was like day three into the trip. And we saw that postcard in the gift shop at the hotel. And I asked, you know, hey, how can we get there? We want to go down there and see this. And they said, okay, you got to take this trolley down, because we didn't have a car. We were downtown. Right. Take this trolley all the way down to this street, and you get off and you walk all the way to... And as soon as we rounded the corner and you see that hotel, it was like I just had to stop and take it in. Because it is amazing how they have just left it. You know, they keep it up, you know, that kind of thing. But they've left it to that day in 1968, which is amazing. Amazing. I don't know. How did you feel seeing that? See, I was born in '68.
Yeah,
so I kind of
wasn't around
knew
then.
About that. I was born in '68, so the JFK and MLK. And
I wasn't around then. I wasn't around till a little bit later in the '70s, So it didn't have as much of an impact on me, but I obviously I knew about Martin Luther King. I knew about the things that he had done and why he was important and all that. But I had never actually even paid much attention to where it had happened, where his assassination had happened. So it didn't ring that true for me then. But now that I teach my forensics class and that, I mean, it definitely a lot more.
Yeah. It's very humbling to be there. It's a very somber location, and we didn't want to. I mean, we don't have that many pictures. You saw our pictures basically in the history video, so I didn't have enough to do a separate video for like the research photos, and out of respect, it is mentioned in the ghost stories and folklore, but it wasn't enough to do a whole video about it. Next year we may add, get into it a little bit more, but this year I just kind of want to cover the location a little bit and our experiences there. And we had another video come out this week that talked about why certain locations could have
Paranormal
potential
claims.
Hauntings and claims, and this one hits like 3 of them right in a row. It was a hotel or motel. It switched. Tragic event that took place there, and eventually people like lived there. It converted to, so I could see why there is the potential of a haunting there. Definitely. As far as investigations and stuff like that, I don't think anybody has actually done one. I don't know. I'd have to dig a little bit more, and I really, to be honest, didn't have time to dig into it and see.
Based on the history, I don't know that would have been the case.
Yeah.
Just based on the historical events that happen and when things happen with the building, I don't see that would have happened. But
that's right. I do want to end with this, though. If you are ever in Memphis, definitely seek out the National Civil Rights Museum and go to this location, because it is very well preserved for history, and you can actually experience it. So.
Yeah, and they keep on renovating and updating their displays and things like that. They just did it again a couple years ago to make it more historically accurate as new things are found, getting more artifacts and things like that. So definitely.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope.
No.
Ooh.
All right, folks. Till next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting. Let us know if you like this video by hitting that thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more videos from us in the future, support our channel by hitting that subscribe button and dinging that bell so you get notified the next time there's a video from Panic D Videos.
Thanks for watching.
Happy hunting.